Okay. All
So
right. So I'm
whenever you're ready to start, you can.
okay. I'm gonna start right off. Hello, everyone. My name is Hassan Ali. I am the owner of Atlas Capital Connection, where we help coaches, consultants, and agency owners generate high quality leads, where we help them save time, stay in front of the right people, and grow a profitable network. Today, I have with me Gary Hines, who is one of the most prolific career coaches in the industry. Gary, how are you?
I'm doing well, sir. How about you?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm happy that you're here with me today.
Yeah, happy to be here when it's cold day.
Yes, absolutely cool today. So, Gary, I wanted to ask you a few questions about some of the things that you do and how you do it and which ways you help people. Is that okay with you?
Oh, that'd be fine. Yes.
Great, great. So, I have my notes over here on the side. So, please don't mind if I kind of glance over and look back and forth. But the first question I want to ask you, Gary, is how long have you been a career development coach?
Wow. Good question. Thanks for asking. So I've been in the career development business for about 25 years now. And I started out working at local colleges. I was at Community College of Philadelphia, Montgomery County Community College, Temple University. Um, And then I eventually moved into nonprofits, so social service nonprofit organizations. And my roles in these different organizations were primarily to help young people get jobs. Um, my targets were mostly like the underserved community in Philadelphia, the ones that have the hardest time finding work. So yeah, I kind of started out that way. So about 25 years or so. And after working in those organizations, I kind of moved into private practice. So in about 2015, I started my own firm where I focused solely on career coaching. And yeah. So that's how long I've been around. And I help in that private practice, I help folks one-on-one with their career management. So yeah, it's exciting. I just launched my first online course too for career coaching.
Wow, wow. So I know this question is it's not off topic. It's kind of on the same rim of what we're talking about. But what differences have you seen between working privately and actually working corporately?
Well, um, privately, it's been quite a challenge to get clients, first of all, because you don't have a system where you do in corporate. You usually have a system behind you. When I say system, I mean like a marketing department or a sales department that helps you sort of source out potential leads. When you're private, you have to do that on your own. Now, I say you have to do that on your own, but you can hire people to do those things for you. So there's out people that outsource that kind of work all the time. So um, you can get that corporate feel even as a private business owner if you want to pay somebody to do like the marketing and the sales and the promotion and all that kind of thing. So there's ways to do it, but that's what I find to be the main difference. In corporate, you usually have a backing that's built in that kind of comes with your job. You don't have to pay for it. And on the private side, you do have to outsource and pay for these.
Wow, wow. My second question to you is, what would you say is the number one issue for job seekers?
Okay. So the number one issue I see today currently is competition. And I say that to say, how does one stay above the competition in today's job market? So in my experience, a job seeker has to have more to show than their competition. When I say more to show, um, for a potential employer, they may be looking at things like, okay, so what, give me some real world experiences that you've had uh, doing this particular work. How would that help my company? But bringing those kind of stories and information to the table during an interview, I think are really critical. Showing that potential employer that, hey, I may not have been in this role at this company, but in my previous roles, I've done things that are very similar. So things like that make you stand out from the competition is really, really good. And then again, to stand above the crowd, you also, might want to emphasize things like certification. if it's a field that requires licenses or certification, be sure to showcase that, and also showcase, of course, the years of experience you may have had. So anything that can kind of set you apart from the traditional crowd. And I look at that again as being like personal success stories, things that you've done on a particular job that were successful at the end, some outcome was. So I think, if you bring those to the table and, just being able to articulate that to an employer is really one of the things that'll put you above the competition.
Wow, wow. My next question for you is, what role does AI play in the job search market?
AI, wow, artificial intelligence, that's a good question. And I tell you, it seems to be permeating everything we do today is AI focused, is AI this and AI that, as I'm sure you're aware. But AI is big in the career development space, and it can be used. So there's some pluses, there's some minuses, there's some pros and cons. But I think it could be used to create scripts, for instance, and agendas for meetings and networking events. So you can certainly use it for things like that. It can assist on like creating cover letters, thank you letters, follow-up correspondence. So it can do little things like that. It can't really get that personal on your particular story, but if you wanted to do like a generic type of correspondence or document, it can certainly do that. But I will say the biggest thing that I have to say about AI is to just tread carefully. Um, AI has been known to produce errors and wrong information. So a person that uses that is going to have to double check everything once this document or whatever it is created by AI. Things like spelling and grammar and even content, because I've been hearing stories about people that ask the AI to create something for them and they go and read it over, and some of the information is not true. It's not correct. So again, I think it depends on the platform you use as well. So, but it's big, and it can be useful if used in the right way.
Yeah, that's interesting. And it's also like just seeing how much it has grown over the years and just wondering, how people are going to work with it moving forward. But
Yeah, yeah. I think a lot of it has to do too with education. I think that I taught for many years, and I just shudder to think if students are using AI to create like research papers and things that they should be doing on their own out of their own brains, but they go to technology to create that. So that's my fear. I think that again, it's one of these, just like the internet, it's one of these unregulated markets. And so at some point, there's got to be some guardrails put up about what can be used in a classroom situation. Yeah.
right. My next question for you is, tell me about the progress you use when you're working with job seekers.
Okay. Yeah. So the process is usually 5 steps that I usually take somebody through. It's really 4 key ones, but I'll tell you about the fifth one in a minute. But what I usually do is I take folks through a section called research and analysis. And in research and analysis, there's 2 phases. The phase one is sort of like the assessment phase.
Okay.
So I give people opportunities to talk about things that are enjoyable to them, things that excite them. Sort of like a self-assessment on their career goals, their career paths, and even personal interests, like what kind of things interest you. Like when you were a kid, what did somebody always tell you you'd be good at because you do such and such a thing? So I use a couple of very informal surveys, but also there's some other technical ones that I can employ as well. But these things kind of help a job seeker sort of really look inward and see what it is that they may be comfortable with doing. Just a quick example. So somebody who's creative that really can like draw, sing, write, act, that kind of thing may not be good in an accounting position because that's boring to them. So it's kind of like identifying the things that interest you. So I take them through that. So that's one part. Phase two is what I call company research and industry research. And what that is that a person has to go out and sort of figure out what does this industry involve? Like if it's the account, if it's the finance industry, what kind of things are in finance? Who's doing what? What are the trends? What's going to happen in the next 5 years? And is this an industry I want to be a part of? Is it an industry that I could be comfortable in? So, doing that kind of research on the industry and then also on companies. So, let's take a few companies in the finance world. I'm just thinking about some of the accounting firms like Anderson Accounting or Anderson Consulting. What do they do? And how long have they been around? What's their goals and what's their future? What's their workforce like? And all that kind of thing. So those two areas I call research and analysis because it gets a job seeker prepared not only to know what they want internally, but what's out there in the world. And the last
Wow.
part of that is to figure out a job title. So if somebody wants to be a CPA, go in and find out what does a CPA actually do day to day? What are the job duties? What are the responsibilities? What's the salary? All of these kind of things. And then they can at least say, this is something I want to do, or this is something that I might be good at, or this is something that I've had some experience in. So that's the first two steps. And then the third one is really the one that I focus on a lot, and that's creating a portfolio or a job seeker's toolkit. And in that portfolio, things are in there that you can imagine that are very commonplace, a resume, a sample cover letter. But I also add in some other documents that I think are critical in today's world, things like a professional biography, one-page document, usually written in the third person, that sort of describes who that job seeker is. And that kind of document can be left at networking events. It can be shared on places like LinkedIn. It's not a resume, but it's sort of a summary of who that person is. So on that phase, oh yeah, by the way, these next couple of phases are called sort of outreach and deployment. So this is
Okay.
where you've gotten all your research done, but now you're going to actually put that stuff to work. So again, creating this toolkit, there's about 12 or about 10 or 12 documents that are required besides the resume and the cover letter. But there's other things too, success stories, templates, scripts, things that people should have at the ready when they're on a job search. So the last phase of this is called the full campaign launch. So somebody has actually got all this information together. They got their portfolio ready. They know what kind of company that they want to work for. They know what the job entails that they're looking for. And then they actually go out and start doing the job search. So this could be as easy as contacting people on their contact list, reaching out to companies that they'd like to work for, going to networking events, just really going out there and applying for jobs. So this phase also talks about interviews and interview styles and the way people interview these days, where technology is and all of that. Um, that's like that's the next phase of like getting the job and how do I get the job? Maybe even using something like a recruitment firm or a staffing agency to find that job. So that's phase four. And then the fifth one that I mentioned, and this would happen after you get the job. After a person lands the job, what are the first 90 days like on that job? How do you stay relevant in the job? How do you keep above the trends in that industry? Um, if there's a ladder to move up in positions, what is that ladder like, and who is the person or the people that you need to connect with in the company? So the fifth part is called ongoing career management. And again, once you've landed and got the job, congratulations. Then, how do you stay in that job? How do you stay relevant in that job? How do you make connections and relationships in that job? My thought and theory is that everybody should always be on a perpetual job search, even if they just got a brand new job. They should always be thinking about, okay, where am I going next? Got this job, I'm happy, I'm learning the job, I'm getting paid, but still in the back of their mind, what's my next move? Am I
Mhm.
going someplace else, or is this going to be my forever job? That kind of thing. So we talk about all that, and I guide folks through all these phases. Um, you know, and some of them could take 2 weeks. And some people have told me, for instance, they don't need the assessment phase. They already know what they want. They don't need the research phase because they already know the industry and they know the title. And what they do need is to maybe tighten up their documents in their portfolio, and then they need assistance on the actual search. So I break it up that way. If somebody just wants to work on certain parts of it, hey, we can do that too.
Wow, wow,
It's
wow.
extensive, huh?
Yeah, that's intensive. That's a lot.
Yeah,
That's,
yeah.
my last question to you is, how do job seekers get in touch with you?
Okay, so I do have a couple of different ways to get in touch with me. I'll start off. The first one is my email, probably the quickest and easiest. And that is my business email address is Gary@GaryHinesConsulting.com. That GaryHinesConsulting.com is all one lowercase word. My phone number is 215-954-8309. And then I have a couple of different sites. My business website is, take a guess, GaryHinesConsulting.com. That's the one of them. I'm on LinkedIn and Facebook and Instagram. And all three of those platforms, I go under Gary Hines Consulting. So if you were to search for me on any of those, you can find all my contact stuff there. So yeah. And on my main website, I list those phases I just talked about in a little bit more detail. But yeah, I'm also giving anybody listening to this broadcast, I'm giving a free 30-minute consultation to anybody that just wants to talk about their careers. You know, no commitment, no obligation to work with me. But you know, if you just want to talk, I'm open to that as well.
Wow, wow. Gary, you are awesome. Thank you so much, man. And if anybody want to reach out, please reach out to Gary and learn so much from him.
Well, thank you, Hassan. Do appreciate you. You're another business professional that I connected with via LinkedIn. And so, yeah, look forward to working with you. And anybody out there, hit me up for sure.
Awesome.
All right, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.